Hey, today's the day we finally get to start drafting. And so today's learning target is that I can draft my description chapter. And we're going to be using this page today. So before we do that, though, we need to learn a little bit about what that means. So remember in reading, we learned that descriptive text structures are going to give details or characteristics of something. Clues when you're reading are things like you find adjectives or vivid verbs or characteristics describing something or examples, even mental images you will be able to create in your mind when you are reading a descriptive text structure. So as writers, we need to do that for our readers. We need to have adjectives. We need to have vivid verbs. We need to describe things, give examples, and have some mental images that people can put in their mind. So we remember the organizer we did last time where our class story had playtime and we described about 5, I did 7 things. Well, I'm going to keep in mind that as I use this organizer today, I'm going to have adjectives, vivid verbs, examples, or mental images when I write. So let's take a look at an example, and you tell me if it's doing those things. Dogs are fun, playful, and hard work. This animal needs playtime. You can play with your dog by creating an obstacle course using toys such as a Kong, teaching it dog tricks, playing fetch, or taking it to the park. Do you hear describing going on? Do you have mental images? Are there any vivid verbs? Playful is a vivid verb. There's examples like an obstacle course or using a Kong. Are there any adjectives? Playing fetch. Is that an adjective? Playing's a vivid verb again. Or taking it to a dog park. That could be an adjective. It's a park just for dogs. So yeah, they're starting to do that here, but I'm actually going to expect you to do a little more. This is a quick snapshot of what I'm looking for. So I'm actually going to be looking for just a little more than the examples that I showed you today in class because I know that we can write long and fast. And so I'm going to show you my example that I had used from my graphic organizer, which isn't all the way on here. But you know that it said playtime and it said things like fetch and the obstacle course and dog tricks and stuff like that. So you're going to be looking at this to inspire you to write on this side. And this is your sloppy copy. So we're not going to spend a ton of time making an illustration and trying to make it look perfect because this is just to get our ideas down today. Low under here, I have a rubric for you to be following. And I want you to make sure that when you're done with the sloppy copy that you've done all those things. So I will read to you my example in a minute, but first I just want to go over some of the things on the rubric. The first thing on the rubric says, my illustration or diagram has a caption or labels that match the topic. So I have this illustration here. I have my title, and then I have my picture with a caption. I need you to do that. Again, you don't have to color and make it all fancy. It just needs to have a sketch showing me that you're going to include those things in the final. It says the next thing is I have at least one sentence to introduce my chapter. So here's how I introduce my chapter. It says, rough, rough, have you ever heard this sound? Now we've talked about good beginnings and how they begin with a question or a fun fact. And I need you to begin your paragraph in this way. And so I chose a question. Maybe you'll choose a question as well. I also chose a sound word. That's another thing you can do. And you can combine a fact with a question if you want, or combine a fact with a sound word. So I think that just tries to hook the reader. And we need to try to hook people into what we're all about, what we're reading and what we're writing all about. The next thing that you need is to describe 5 or more details. So this is going to come from that organizer. You're going to want to make sure this is where you begin to include those vivid verbs and those details and the descriptive adjectives and maybe things that give people a mental image in their mind of, for me, it'll be of giving the dog a walk. So this is what I say, and see if you can see me doing those things. This is the sound of your dog barking. Energetic dogs need lots of attention, so you should walk them every day. When you walk your playful dog, be sure to bring a chew toy. Some dogs can play loudly with chew toys. Some dogs can play quietly with chew toys. One fun place to take your dog is to the dog park. This will give your dog time to play. So as I went through there, I started to underline. Did I start to put in details? I put a detail about the sound of my dog barking, because that's what Ruff was. And I tell you that dogs are energetic. So energetic describes dogs. So there's an adjective. But I also tell you they need lots of attention. So that's something that leads us to walking our dog. And so I tell you they're playful dogs. So an adjective telling you they're playful. Okay. And I say you should walk them every day because of that. And then I tell you maybe bring a chew toy along on your walk, because some dogs are going to play with them loudly and some are going to play with them quietly. So there again, I'm describing using adjectives. But I think a chew toy sometimes is a good idea, especially if they start to get a little aggressive while they're out and playing, especially puppies. They get to be that way. And then I also describe going to a dog park, because sometimes you can walk your dog and then go to the dog park. And so I describe that. I definitely have found 3 things that I've done in there, but if I need 5, I think I need to do a little more. So make sure that you are really describing well and that you underline where you're doing that so you know you did do it. Then you can check off yes on your checklist. It says, I elaborated on my ideas, meaning, do I explain my ideas? I think I do. When I tell you to bring a chew toy, I tell you how they're going to play, loudly or quietly. So I feel like I elaborated there. Do I have an ending sentence? Well, I didn't read this part yet, so listen to how I end it. I say, I hope your dog gets in a walk every day to stay healthy and happy. So remember, when we have good endings, we give like a hope and a wish or a reminder about something or a memory. So those are good ways that authors end things. So can you see what I did? I said, I hope. And I hope people have dogs that they walk every day. So yeah, I'm going to tell you that. So that's how I ended this chapter. And then the last thing says, I don't use any 3rd grade spelling errors. So you're going to want to look through there a little bit, and maybe you've got some spelling errors. I know it's their sloppy copy, but 3rd grade words should be able to be spelled right. Okay, so it's your turn now. You get to write your descriptive chapter. You're going to get out this same drafting paper, and you are going to follow that checklist and do the best you can. And we'll be around to help you if you have any questions. But I want you to try to look at that rubric and look at your organizer and try to get started on your own.